All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at the math object. And while I was sitting here waiting for the recording to start, I thought to myself, I have no idea if the math object has any properties. If it does, never used them, so we're not going to spend any time on them. There are a ton of methods tied to the math object. A lot of times you won't use these if you wanted to do advanced calculus and trigonometry and things like that. You would have things like cosine and tangent and math functions like that. But we're going to look at some that we've already glanced at but might not have understood from the first lab that we did. I provided you a line of code to create a random number. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at our random number generator with some of the rounding options. So I'm going to come into our script tag. I'm going to start out varring something. And what we're going to do in this example is we're going to have it create the random number. Remember from your reading, the random method of the math object creates a random number from 0 to 1, which is not very useful. A lot of times you're going to end up multiplying by a number to move that decimal point over and get a range of numbers that you want. So what we're going to do then is we're going to take the result of the random function, we're going to multiply it by a number here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to feed it through one of our rounding options that will allow us to chop off the decimal point. So this is a little bit of code that we used in the first lab that allowed us to get the integer that was part of our guessing game. And I'm just going to explain how it works right now. So we're going to var our random number, and we're going to var the random number. It's not equal to anything. Random, and I'm going to shorten it so I don't have to type it over and over again. So we're going to set var our random number, and we're going to set that equal to math.random. So if we were to document.write my cat's sitting in front of the screen right now, so I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing around him. Go on. What we would get, let me go ahead and save this as random number.html. So we're going to do this in stages. So we're going to save that, and we're going to come over to our browser. We're going to load that up, and we'll see. So you'll see there it chose this as its random number. If we hit reload, it will just keep picking random numbers of various lengths and of various values. So back to our code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to multiply that by 10. So we're going to move the decimal place one place over. Oops, got to save it. And then go over here and reload. And so now we notice that our random numbers are all a number followed by a decimal. And so if we want to chop off that number, then we can use one of our rounding methods that are in the book. And so we'll have to take this code that we've already written and put it into one of the rounding methods. So let's just show you how that would work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to var a new variable. No, I'm not. We're just going to show the results, because this is, you do it in one step most of the time. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to come in here and we're going to do our floor method first, and we're going to send in the results of our math.random. So the browser will come in and it'll generate a number between 1 and 0, it'll multiply it by 10, and then it'll turn around and feed it into the math.floor function. So the math.floor function automatically rounds down to 0 regardless of what normal rounding rules are. So 3.9 gets rounded down to 3, doesn't get rounded up to 4 like we learned how to round since we were in the 4th or 5th grade. Now if you're looking for a number in a certain range, then you need to check this. So if this comes up, if this were to come up with 0.047 and the decimal place gets pushed over to one place, then you'd have 0.47. If you round down, you're going to have 0 as one of the options of your random number. If you wanted it to automatically round up to 1, then of course you would use the CEIL, C-E-I-L method, which I'll show you in a minute. So you need to make sure on both ends of that, if 0.99999 is selected, you move the decimal place one place over, it rounds up to 10. So CEIL gives you a range of numbers from 1 to 10 in this instance. Floor gives us a value from 0 to 9. And it just depends on what you need in your code and what you need those upper and lower limits to be. So let's just go ahead and show you what this does. We're going to see our decimals go away. We have 8, we have 2, we have 5, we have 1, and so forth and so on. So just to show you, you're not really going to be able to see the difference. You're going to see ceiling that automatically rounds up. So we should never see a 0. We should always see numbers from 1 to 10. And then back here, we can also use round, which is a method of the math function that automatically rounds numbers according to what we expect rounding rules to be. If it's 0.5 or higher, it'll round up. If it is not, it will round down. And again, you're not going to see any of the same, but you can, in this case, see both 0 and 9. Okay, so that right there is the math method. There are tons of these. You use them when you need them to do mathematical functions that go beyond the basic operators of multiplication, division, subtraction, and addition. So that is pretty much the example I'm going to do for math methods. In the next one, we're going to look at the date object.